We about to jump to Nehemiah 6 because I feel like there's some stuff in there. But I advise you, read the whole Nehemiah, read the whole Bible. I mean, you're not going to do it in one night, but, read it all because there's stuff in there and keep reading it. The Bible is never a book that you're finished reading, okay? But anyway. Chapter 6. Now it came to pass when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem the Arabian, the haters, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had built the wall and that there was no breach left therein, though at the time I had not set up the doors upon the gates. So in other words, he was done building the wall, but he wasn't done building the doors. Then Sanballat and Geshem sent unto me, saying, Come, let us meet together in one of the villages in the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me mischief. In other words, his haters sent him a letter saying, let's meet and talk about this. And maybe somebody's trying to tell you, well, let's talk. Somebody's telling you okay, let's just talk about this. Come over here. But he said, but they thought to do me mischief. Verse 3. And I sent messengers unto them, saying, I am doing a great work so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease? Will I leave it and come down to you? And that's what we need to start saying to those distractions, to those enemies, even to some of those thoughts. Because remember, I told you Nehemiah building his wall is to let us know that we need to build ours. So when the devil comes with those thoughts, when your own flesh comes with those thoughts, when people who are knocking your new life, who are knocking your decisions that you're doing following your God, when they come knocking you, you need to have that. Why should the work cease? Will I leave it to come down to you? In other words, why would I stop what I'm doing to come talk to my haters? Why will I stop making videos to go talk to my haters? Why would I stop serving God to go listen to what my crazy thoughts be telling me? Why would I stop being blessed to go do what my pride be telling me to do? You get what I'm saying? You got to know what you need to address and what you need to just ignore and keep doing what you're doing. And that comes from God, and that comes from knowing who you are and what you're about, which is why you have to be connected to God so that you can understand, Lord, what's right for me to do today? Because let's be real, sometimes it's not even a matter of good things and bad things. If it's good things and bad things, it's real easy, to differentiate which one you should do. But sometimes the question of today is it this good thing or is it that good thing? And that's when you really need to understand who you are, what God is doing in your life, and where you're going. Because sometimes it's not a matter of the girl who cheats on me and the high school sweetheart. Sometimes it's a matter of, Lord, both of these girls got some, good stuff with them. Which one? You get what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a matter of, Lord, well, this job's good and that job's good too. Which one? That's why you need to spend time with God so that God can, remember I said he will insert the plans into your own head. You need to spend time with God. I don't know why I'm on that because I don't really have a script when I turn the camera on. I just kind of flow, but I didn't realize that this is where we was going to flow. But anyway, we're here now. It's how God will insert a thought into your mind. You need to understand and make room for that. Go to God and ask him. Because somebody watching this is in the middle. They need to make a decision where your life is going. I don't care if it's a person who you need to date, a job, a move, what you need to be doing, what direction you're headed. You need to stop and seek God. And then once God tells you, okay, this is who you are, Marcus. This is what you're about. This is what I need you to do. This is your part. You get what I'm saying? So in my case, Okay, Marcus, there was a time when God's telling me, I need you to stop hustling. I need you to control your lust. And I need you to spend more time serving other people. And because I'm trying to teach you, Marcus, how to serve other people, and I'm trying to break you from that old life to your new life, I'm going to give you this job. Because this job is not only going to give you the money that you need because you stopped hustling, and then I made you lose your hustling money. So it's going to answer your prayer, but then it's also going to fulfill what I need in you, because Marcus, this job is going to, one, give you a feeling of satisfaction doing something good, give you a better identity. Get what I'm saying? But this job is also going to teach you to serve and to teach you to do things that you don't feel like doing. In other words, you're going to go here and take care of these old people. But I know you ain't never worked before. So just waking up and going to this job every day is going to be a test for you. But then as you go to work and as you do the service, you're also going to get a new fulfillment that you haven't felt in a long time. The fulfillment of doing a day's work, the fulfillment of serving somebody other than yourself. You get what I'm saying? And that's what God did. And that's what I did. And there was so much wrapped in just that step. Just in me taking that job, God did so much. He broke me from my old bad habits, thinking that you just hustle to get money. He broke me from the habit of, if I don't feel like doing it, I'm not doing it. Because some days I didn't feel like going to work. And then he also broke me of, your job is a service. So I got to go there and I got to serve other people other than serving myself or just serving the people that I know. Get what I'm saying? And then on top of all of that, it's also going to be a test for you, Marcus, because as good as this job is, you and I both know, Marcus, that this job is not what I promised you. Whenever I was telling you I'm about to use you and bless you, I never mentioned that you're about to go get a 9-to-5. So it's also going to be a test in, Marcus, will you do it strictly because I, your God, are telling you to do it? And will you do it faithfully? And will you do it to the best of your ability? And will you do it when you don't feel like doing it? You get what I'm saying? And so I went to that job and I got fulfillment, because even along the way, before you get to where you're going, there's blessings lined up for you along the way. I never knew that my way was going to have a pit stop doing this job, but I'm glad it did, because I had experiences and I did things and I learned things about myself and about other people during this job that I'm thankful for. And then this is how God works. Then once it comes to the point, I done forgot about the promise. I done forgot about I'm about to use you and bless you. And I'm just so happy with the job. I'm so happy with the paychecks that I got comfortable. And that's the thing about following God. He doesn't want you to get comfortable in anything besides him. And he wants to give you your identity. And sometimes we get our identity from the road and not from God. In other words, now my whole identity is wrapped in, I'm Marcus, the home healthcare worker. Get what I'm saying? And I was fine. I was so happy with what I had that I forgot all about, boy, I told you I'm about to use you and bless you. This don't got nothing. This isn't your purpose. This is to help you prepare for your purpose. Get what I'm saying? This is to teach you to serve. This is to give you a break. I'm not just going to take you from the streets to the pulpit. I'm not just going to take you from hustling to now just serving and preaching the word of God. I'm going to give you a pit stop in between so that during that pit stop, we can deal with some things. And thank God for the time that he gives you on the backside of a desert where nobody's watching, because you don't always want to be dealing with your mess and dealing with letting God deal with your mess in front of everybody. And I used to be like that. I used to think everything I was going through, I got to come tell y'all. But now I realize, and I thank God for privacy. I thank God for the times during that job in the beginning that I didn't want to go. And I was mad as ever going to work. But God was dealing with me, teaching me, Marcus, you made a commitment to this job. You made a commitment to these people at that house. If you don't go to that house today, that guy in that wheelchair, he's gonna just sit in his pee all day. You get what I'm saying? But that was that. But the thing is, I got attached to that. And I'm not saying don't get comfortable, because you got to be comfortable even along the way. But what I'm telling you is, don't get too comfortable that you forget what God gave you in that season was just for a season. Because I'm going to keep telling you, then we get to the point, I'm in the middle of work. I'm at work and I'm reading my Bible on my phone, and I hear God start talking to me, reminding me, boy, you got a big promise. Boy, you got a big future ahead of you. This ain't it. This was just along the way. And Marcus, this has served its purpose. I see now you go to work to the point that you even like going to work. And I see now that no matter what I do, even if I have you take a pit stop, I see that you're still serving me. You get what I'm saying? Like, and God came and he's telling me at work, not literally out loud, but he's speaking to me through the Bible. He's like, boy, you forgot. There's more. But by then I like this. Lord, I like this job. I even like having my identity in a home health care worker. Because remember, Lord, I stopped going to nursing school. So this job makes me feel like accomplished, that same accomplishment that I had when I was going to nursing school. And this got people looking at me. Let's be real. And this got people looking at me, clapping and proud. And they're proud of me because I got a job. And I even got a job that I like telling people, Lord, it's not like I'm flipping burgers or nothing. No offense to nobody who flips burgers. Do what you got to do. But I'm just saying, in my case, I was like, I like this, Lord. This feel good. I'm helping people. I feel important at work. When I'm off work, I feel important. A lot of people in my family do this same job, so I feel connected to my family. I'm literally walking you through the process. You get what I'm saying? I feel more connected to people in my family because, I'm doing what my mom do, my sister do this, my cousin do this. And then God came to me while at work, and he said, yeah, well, Marcus, I need you to quit. And I'm sitting there reading, and I'm doing just how we do, just like y'all probably did it before too. No, God wouldn't tell me to do that. And I still keep reading, and I just keep hearing it clearly. It was just a season, Marcus. You're getting attached to this season. I got a better season for you, but you got to let this one go. And then I'm like, all right, well, Lord, if I'm about to quit my job, I was always taught, you don't quit your job without first having another job. And then once again, God speaking to me like, boy, this is like your second job you ever had. I know that you heard that, but I didn't tell you that. Look at me now trying to be all like I just know about working and stuff. And I'm telling God, like, I'll quit it, but I'll quit it when you give me the next one. And God's like, that's not how faith works. You got to quit it without knowing. You got to quit it just knowing that God told you to quit it. Because if you only quit it because you can see what's ahead, that doesn't bring me as much glory. And that doesn't really show me, Marcus, that you're listening to me. Because once again, I don't want you trusting in the road. I want you trusting in me, Marcus. So if I show you the whole road and you're only trusting because you see the road and you know where it's going, that's not how faith works. Get what I'm saying? So I'm at work and I'm like thinking of all these reasons why God couldn't be telling me to quit my job and why I shouldn't quit my job. And then I'm like, well, Lord, I just got this job and, my patients need me. My mama proud of me. My baby mama going to be hot if I quit. And Lord, you gave me the job. I like the job. Look, I get paid well. Lord, I need the job. And then God's like, you still got to quit. And then I'm like, all right, Lord, bet. I'm going to quit. But I'm going to quit, when you show me why I'm quitting. And then he said, no. All I can tell you is, if you quit, you quitting will be a big enough thing from my eyes to let me know that you're ready for the next thing. because it'll let me know that Marcus really does care more about what I say than his own identity. Because let's be real, as the person who I am, even doing this, even going to work, I can real easily let it all feed into my own pride. Because it's not like I never had a pride issue. I was an arrogant, if you knew me, you knew. I was very arrogant. So I still have to watch that. Even being blessed can funnel right into my arrogance. That's why I'm always preaching, God does not bless you so that you can stunt. Because I have to deal with myself on that a lot. That's why sometimes I don't even take a shower and get ready before I come on the camera. Because I don't want it to turn into the Marcus show to where I'm looking nice and doing my thing. And I want it to be, giving you God's word even more than I'm giving you Marcus. So I don't always want to be looking good. I gotta not that I can look ugly, but you get what I'm saying. So anyway, so God's like, Les, if you quit your job, that's going to be enough to show me that you're ready for the next thing. And all I can tell you is, remember what I promised you from the beginning. How I told you big and you're going to be used and you're going to like it. Well, we're at that point. But you got to let go of what's in your hand so that I can put something else in it. And in that letting go, that's going to show me that you're ready for what I'm going to put in your hand. So long story short, I went downstairs. I told my client's husband, who's her power of attorney, and I walked him through, because the thing is, God doesn't want you to do anything sloppy either. Because you still have to have respect for where you were, because that was at one point your provision in your place. So it's not about going downstairs, see ya. No, I went downstairs and I talked to my client and I said, listen, I feel I'm being called somewhere else. And I was even telling God when I was upstairs that, well, Lord, I can't just leave my client. And then God said, just trust me. So I went downstairs. I said, listen, I feel like I'm being called to another job. And my client's husband was a stern man. He didn't even want me to come into that house at first. So my thing to God was, I can't quit because my man, he's not going to let somebody else come in here. And God was like, just trust me. And I went and I told him, I said, man, but listen, if I leave this company, will you even let somebody else from the company come? And the client says, to be honest, I always wanted a girl. Because you're not able to change my wife, and I need somebody who can change my wife. I'm tired of changing her. He said, so no offense to you, I like you, Marcus, and you did right by me and my wife. But if you do leave, yeah, I would rather have a girl. Look at God. And here I am telling God upstairs that I can't leave because my client too attached to me. You get what I'm saying? I shook his hand. He shook mine. He said, you did right by me and my wife. It was nice knowing you. You got to do what you got to do for you. I left, called my boss, told my boss, and I told my boss is a Christian. I told my boss, I said, listen, man, I got to leave. And he said, why? He's like, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm being called into ministry or at least serving God. So my boss is like, that's crazy. I've been thinking about doing the same thing. Look at God. So then I go turn in my last my time slip, and my boss is like, so what's the plan? And I felt like that one video where it'd be like, I don't know. God told me, and I told him, I said, man, I don't know. I said, man, all I know is God told me to leave. And then my client tried to get me to, well, how about you just take a different client with less hours, and me and you can join my church and we can figure it out. That was the test to see if I'm going to listen to what God said or if I'm going to settle for the safe. Because remember, I told you, sometimes it's not about, back to my point, sometimes it's not about between bad and good. Sometimes it's between good and what God said. Both things are good. And I could have very easily succumbed to, I get to keep this job, but it's still less hours. So I still I'm kind of technically doing what God told me to do because now I'm going to have more time. And then now I'm be joining this church too, so God's going to like that. But I saw it for what it was. And God had already told me before, the next thing, you're going to know it when you see it. and I didn't get that this is it. You know what I'm saying? So I told my boss, I said, man, that sounds good, but I'm sorry. I have to leave the company. Not less hours, not a different patient. I have to leave. He said, well, Marcus, I mean, you're a good dude, man. I liked you from the start. He said, man, keep me posted. I want to know what happens next. Shook his hand. I'm out. So as I'm leaving, walking back home, my work is like a couple blocks up the street. I'm walking back home. Here I am thinking it's about to start raining money on my way home, or TD Jakes is about to like pull up on my street and tell me get in. I'm being real. And ain't nothing happened. I heard down in my spirit God say, good job. And I went home. Nothing happened. Nothing crazy. No phone call. No billionaire. Well, next day I'm getting all types. It seemed like the next day, every single person who texted me said, how's work? I mean, Bink texted me, how's work? I can't talk right now, bro. My baby mom, do you work Friday? Like my mom, hey, how's work? It seemed like everybody's just asking me how was work the next day. And remember how I told you, sometimes you got to go in that mode where outside influences are just going to mess you up, because sometimes God is telling you to do something crazy, and your family's going to give you good advice, and God bless them for that. But sometimes, like I said, it's not between good and bad. It's between good and God. So I couldn't even talk to my family about it because I wasn't strong enough in it to even answer questions. Why? What's next? The things responsible adults ask other responsible adults when a responsible adult quits their job. I wasn't ready for that because all I knew was God quit your job. And let's be real, sometimes even other believers don't want to hear that God told you quit your job. Especially me, because I'm not even somebody who always be working. Like, you get what I'm saying? So to them, it would have been like, really, Marcus, you just wanted to quit. That type of thing. You feel me? So I was secluded in this area. And I'm not going to lie, it was it was a hard couple days because for a couple of those, nothing happened. I made videos still and nothing happened. And I was expecting something to happen because, God, you told me to quit my job. So, and you told me if I quit my job, that's going to be enough for the next thing. So I quit my job, Lord. And nothing happened. And you got to be okay with that. You're waiting for me to tell you some big miracle. No. You have to be okay with the simple fact that God told you to do it and you did it. And now you're waiting on what God does next. But you did your part. And yeah, at one point, after a couple days, I called my boss and I hit God with one of those. Now, if my boss answers, Lord, that means that I'm supposed to ask for my job back. But if he don't, you get what I'm saying? I hit God with one of them. But I knew it was bullcrap. Remember, I told you, you got to know that some things just aren't from God. And we got to stop putting God under those tests. We got to stop putting God under those. God, if I'm supposed to, creep with this girl, let me get all green lights. And if I'm not supposed to sleep with this girl, let it start raining geese. Like I do it too. Trust me. That's how I know that you do it. But we got to stop hitting God with those type of tests, because you're testing God, and God doesn't even test you. He doesn't. Well, he tests you, but he doesn't tempt you. But you can't really tempt God. You can't force God's hand. God's going to speak to you when he wants to speak to you. God's going to give you a sign when he wants to give you a sign. And yes, in some cases, you can respectfully ask for a sign because you want to know it's truly from God. Like, I asked for some more confirmation when I first read and I thought God was telling me to quit my job. I said, Lord, you got to confirm this because I don't want to get this wrong. That's different. But whenever it was, I'm about to call my boss, Lord, and if he answers, that means I'm supposed to ask for my job back. No, that was from Marcus. That wasn't the Holy Spirit telling me to pray that. It's nothing wrong for making sure that what you heard, because I told you got to test everything. There's nothing wrong with making sure that you're hearing correctly. But there is something wrong with once you know what God said, you then trying to change the tables and change the outcome on your own. And so I called my boss and he didn't answer. And then I prayed a real prayer. And I said, Lord, I'm not going to lie. I'm having a hard time with this because I'm starting to feel like, what if I just quit my job? Because deep down, I don't like working. Let's be real. And I said, Lord, so I'm having a hard time with this. So I'm going to need you to give me some type of sign to just let me know. Forget the future, but just let me know that I did what I was supposed to do by quitting my job. Because, Lord, I don't want to just be doing things because of Marcus and then calling it God. And then God gave me a very, very, very clear sign in something that I read. And it was just talking about when God tells you to leave something and you have to leave it and things like that. And it was a very clear sign. And that's what you mean. Sometimes I can't even explain to you the sign because sometimes when God gives you a sign, it's your sign and nobody else is even going to understand it. Nobody else is going to hear what you heard during that Burger King commercial. So there's no point in even telling us because you know what you heard and you knew it was from God. But that's enough. That has to be enough sometimes. And let me be real with you. When you really get close to God and you are really being used in such by, you get a little quirky. Like my baby mom will tell you, I'm a little weird the closer I get to God. Because I have dreams and signs in my dreams and I read things in the Bible and it lets me know what to do next. And I can't give you no real firm evidence how I know, but I just know. And it's hard explaining what you heard in faith to another person. That's why I told you sometimes it's just you and God, and you just got to be okay with the fact that God told you something and you can't even tell nobody because they ain't going to understand anyway. And then other times you got to be led by God who to tell what. Because sometimes God will give you a word and he'll tell you, I know this is a big word and I know that you're going to need somebody to talk to about this. So I gave this person the faith to at least not judge you or at least not talk you out of the word. You can vent to this person about that, and that person will listen to you without telling you something different than the word. In other words, without giving you their opinion in the sense of, no, that's crazy, don't do that. And that's all, once again, you got to be connected by God to know who to tell what and what's really going on. Because look at how much room there is for you to mess it up or for the devil to mess it up. That's why you really have to be one walking in the Spirit. Now, if I had all types of sin in my life, it would be so much harder for me to hear God. But the holier you get, the easier it is to hear God because I'm living right. I don't have bad motives as much. I don't have ego and pride and self. I don't have those things in the way as much. Sometimes it still comes and I'll do something out of pride or I'll do something out of ego or I'll do something out of selfishness. But the way that I live nowadays, I try so hard to, even when I do something out of pride or selfishness, I try to go apologize or I try to go make it right or I try to go confess and tell on myself. And that's what it takes. You got to stay as holy as you can be with God's help. Not perfect, but striving. And then you got to be like testing everything and making sure and rightly dividing the word of God. But that doesn't sound as complicated as it sounds, strictly because you have part of God inside of you. You have the Holy Spirit inside of you, and it's the Holy Spirit's job to help you to understand these things. When I tell you God said this to me, that's what I mean. His Spirit inside of me spoke to me, and I heard it clearly. But other things I don't hear clearly. And some things I hear, but I don't even want to believe it. So I need confirmation so that I know for a fact, God, you told me this. Before I go do this crazy thing, you're going to have to give me some more confirmation. Get what I'm saying? And I pray God just gives the understanding to even what I'm saying, because I'm explaining a lot. But so then I quit my job. And it's been a while. It's been about a week or two since I quit my job. For me, that's a while. And I'm just now, when I say just now, I mean today. Just now, today, hearing the voice of God again. What was I doing during that time? That was a time of stretching. When God makes you wait, and when God, doesn't come, it's because during that time, Marcus, your faith is growing in that time. During that time, Marcus, you're getting all of your emotions out. Because during these weeks, I've been yelling at God. I done cried myself to sleep. I done counted every dollar I had and try to figure out, you go through a lot. And that's good. God lets you go through a lot, because during that lot, you're getting closer to him. And he's seeing how you handle it, honestly. And he's helping you and teaching you how to handle it, so that the more that you handle, as moving forward, you're able to handle more. And because of the stuff I've already been through, I'm able to handle things better. I'm able to quit my job. And yeah, I still yelled, and yeah, I still cried, and yeah, I still got nervous whenever God didn't come immediately. But it wasn't the end of the world to the point I ran out and got another job. You get what I'm saying? I thought about it. Don't get me wrong. But in the end, all of those thoughts were captured and talked to and to God. You got to capture that thought, and then you got to go telling yourself to God, about God, this is what I'm thinking. Because he knows anyway. So I had to go tell God, God, you know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about going to call and get my job back. So I'm going to need some help right now. And God will give you that help. And I made it. That week and a half, it feels so long without a job, but I made it, and I'm stronger because of it. And just now today, about an exact week later, God is now speaking to me about the next thing, and I'm glad. And that's the point that God gets you to, the point where the same thing that you were crying about, the same thing that you didn't want to do, is now the thing. I'm happy I quit my job. That's what the Bible means when it says, it was good for me that I was afflicted. When he says that, for example, I can look back on my jail time and I can say, I'm glad I went to jail. How can you say you're glad you went to jail, Marcus? Because I got saved in jail, and because everything that I am doing today is because I read the Bible in jail. I don't know nothing new about the Bible. Everything that I'm teaching now is all stuff that God taught me with me, myself, in the Bible, in my jail cell. I read the entire Bible more than one time. I read the entire Bible once, and then probably halfway through it again when I was in jail. And everything that I just understood it from the time I read it in jail. I was able to just understand it. I don't know why. That's God. And now everything that I'm teaching is all stuff that I've always knew. But look how long it took for me to start doing it. And that's what I mean by God knows when it's time. I didn't go home from jail. I could have literally went home from jail doing what I do now. But instead I went home from jail and fell on my face and went back to the streets. But it was all part of the plan. Because if I would have however it happened, that's how it was supposed to happen. It was supposed to be now. Get what I'm saying? And you got to just be okay you got to make peace with your past and understand it was good for me that I was afflicted. It was good for me that I went to jail, because during jail, this happened. It was good for me that I was on drugs, because now, had I not been on drugs, had I not ever missing teeth and all of that, now it would all just be more arrogance. But because God humbled me so much before he lifted me up, and it had to happen that way, because had he not humbled me first, I was already arrogant. You add blessed, I'd have been a a-hole, a bigger one. You get what I'm saying? But because God humbled me so much before he let me shine, and he's just now about to really let me shine, now it's all to God's glory. And now I'm not about to use this for Marcus, because I know what it's like to be humbled by God. And I don't ever want to be humbled by God again. And the Bible is very clear. You have a choice. Either you humble yourself or God humbles you. But if you humble yourself, God will lift you up. But if God humbles you, but if you don't humble yourself, God will humble you. And I was humbled by God. In other words, I was humbled by life. But I'm glad. I'm glad that all of that happened, because it now prepared me to handle this better. In other words, it was good for me. And if you really know me, everything that I've been through, it was good for Marcus. That Marcus went to jail. It was good for Marcus that he got on drugs. It was good for Marcus that he lost teeth, because it all led me and made me into the man I am today. And above, it was all God. Get what I'm saying? And now, just now, I'm about to enter into my future for real and see what it was really all about. But I'm glad for everything, because the fact that my life was so hard and I've been through so many things, now that I'm blessed and I'm able to teach the word of God, things that a lot of people let go to their head. There's a little bit who tries to let it go to my head. But because my life was so hard, I realized that, no, I'm here to give Christ to the homeless person, because I've slept outside downtown. I'm here to give Christ to the drug addict, because I've been there. I'm here to give Christ to the person who doesn't feel as pretty as they used to be, because I've been there. I'm here to help people who've been humbled, or people who need humble. Like, I've been through so much different stuff that I can now relate to whoever. You on drugs? I've been there. We can relate. Oh, you was the man? I've been there too. We can relate. You did that too. We can relate. You been in jail? Oh, me too. You been relate? I can relate. And because of that, and because of how low my lows were, God made it so that even if I did get brand new, y'all would call me on it. You see how God works? If I was to get brand new, y'all would call, boy, we remember you when, you get what I'm saying? But I love it. I love how God let it all work and leads up. And I'm telling you my life so that you can see, whether you're low or high, wherever you're at in your life right now, you got to realize that it's not just a series of unfortunate events. It's all being orchestrated and led to somewhere. And God's going to use it all. Nothing that you've been through will be wasted. And nothing that you've been through is something that was a time away from God. Even if it literally was a time where you weren't following God, God is still going to, when he gets you, he's going to let you know lessons from that time too. Everything that I know isn't just everything that I learned when I was saved. I got lessons in me from when I was a kid. Like, God has a way of bringing it all full circle and bringing you as a person wholly in full circle. When I say holy, I mean WHOLE, like he's going to bring you to a whole. I literally lived that. I watched God take it all, even the mess, the junk, all of it, the mistakes, the pain, all of it, and turn it into a blessed Marcus, and turn it into somebody who has something to give, and somebody who understands it's not me. Because normally somebody who, you know what I'm saying, when you say all that, it would normally lead to pride or ego. But God had a way of orchestrating it all to where now I can bless you abundantly, Marcus, and it's not even going to go to your head. And if it does go to your head, you know how to take that thought captive. Because there's so much that you never want to go back to. You never want to go back to that man who just needed to be humbled. You never want to go back to that man who I had to humble. You never want to go back to those lows, to that jail, to those drugs. And now it's like to the point there's nowhere else to go but up, Marcus, because you've had enough of down. And God will get you to that point too where you've had enough. I've had enough of this bar. I've had enough of dating the same guys. I've had enough of dating the same girls. I've had enough of not living up to my potential. I've had enough of being the black sheep. I've had enough of just messing up. I've had enough of my way. That's where God had to get me to, and that's where he will get you to, and he's going to use anything that he can, good, bad, or ugly, but it's all going to lead to you being this beautiful, blessed thing in God's hands. And I'm telling you right now, God is going to get you and put you in his hands, and he is going to make it all work for good, and then he's going to show you off. And then you are going to be doing not exactly the same thing that I do, but you too are going to be a light shining in the area that God puts you in. And when people come to you and talk to you about your light, you're going to tell your story. And you're going to tell them what God did for you. And you might even tell them that it all started with this crazy kid named C from your hometown. But it's all God's glory. And we are all God's children. And there is nothing special about me to the point where anything I tell you happened in my life, God would only do that for me and not for you. Like, no, I'm here on this video. I spend so much time talking to y'all, not because, look at me, but more about, yo, if he did this for me and y'all know how bad I was, imagine what he could do for you. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here so that I can forever teach you about God. I'm here so I can get you to the point that you're just as activated for God that I am. And now us together, boom, you go this way, I go that way. We're going to meet back here and tell our stories, and we both going to be on fire. And that's how I live my life. The people around me, my closest friends, like, I try to activate you, and boom, bro, get your light shining. Go do it too. I ain't gonna hate. Do it. Make your video. Do what you do too. If you're doing it for God, I want you out there. It says in the Bible, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. So pray to your God that he sends laborers to the field. And that's just Bible talk for there are so many unsaved people who need the love of God, who need the forgiveness of God, who need to hear about God. But there's not too many authentic, real people who are going to come and literally give them Jesus and want them to have the same Jesus that they have. I want you to have the same Jesus that I have. I do not always want to be the teacher or to be I want it to be us. I want it to be our town. Blessed. I wanted to be our city. Blessed. I wanted to be, this is what God did for me. Word. This is what God doing for me. Like, I wanted to be like that. Don't believe me? Talk to my closest friend, Bing. That's literally our relationship. Bro, God doing this. Yo, bro, I'm reading this. What you think about? Like, it's just building. And that's what it's about, y'all. It's about stop being hated. Like, stop knocking. It's about literally all of us building and being on fire for God. I want you to be a better parent. I want you to be blessed. I want you to do and have your lane. And I'm going to stay in mine and do my thing. And God's going to bless me and he's going to bless you. And we're going to be happy for each other. And when I fall, you're going to lift me up. And when you fall, I'm going to lift you up. And when I need something I need prayed about, we're going to pray about it. And when you need something you need prayed about, we're going to touch and agree about it. That's what I'm doing here. That's why I'm going hard. That's what the videos, I don't care about the like. I can do nothing with a like. I can't feed my daughter with it. I can't buy a shirt with it. I can't do nothing with that like. But what I can use is somebody else out here on fire for God. And that's what I pray is happening. Lord, I pray that you touch them. I'm sorry this video is so long, but Lord, we spend way more than an hour doing other things that profit nothing. So I'm no longer guilty about how long a video for you is, Lord. I pray that whoever needs the video, whoever's going to ingest the video, I pray that the video finds them. And I pray that you use this video, Lord, to light up the entire nation. Light up the whole Coraopolis, light up the whole New Brighton, light up the whole Pittsburgh, light up wherever it is that you need lit, Lord, light it. Go be their God just like you've been my God, Lord. Let them have crazy stories about their God, just like I have crazy stories about you, Lord. Let them be the love. Let them be the light. Let them be the reason that somebody else has a light. Let them go into the world and do and preach and sing and talk and give their gifts and do whatever it is that you made them to do, Lord. Let people begin to do it. And let's change the world. I'm big enough to believe that my God is big enough to hear me and big enough to do it. And I'm big enough to believe that what I'm doing is going to help you help me do it. And we're going to do it for God. God bless. God love you. God use you. Nothing missing, nothing lacking.